Today, we're doing a deep dive into a really sophisticated and, frankly, disturbing scam that targets the one place you're supposed to feel completely safe, your own home. Now, this isn't your typical break-in. We're not talking about a crowbar and a broken window. No, this is much more clinical. It's basically a psychological operation. The whole point is to take your desire for security and turn it into the very key a criminal uses to walk right through your front door with your permission. They call it the perimeter pivot. And by the end of this, you'll get exactly how it works, why it's so darn effective, and most importantly, how to make your home a fortress against it. Okay, let's jump in. This quote, it just cuts right to the heart of the whole paradox, doesn't it? The biggest threat isn't always some figure lurking in the shadows. So often, it's a person with a friendly smile, wearing a clean uniform, standing on your porch in the middle of the day. Just think about that for a second. The very person we're all conditioned to trust, the technician, the service guy, they become the entry point for the attack. They're not there to break your lock. They're there to get you to open the door for them. And it works because they twist the very symbols of protection against you. It's a chilling flip of everything we think we know about home safety. So let's start with this fundamental and, unnerving idea. We're calling it the security paradox. See, in this scam, every single thing you do to feel safe, that fancy security system, the cameras, even that little sign you stick in your front lawn, that's exactly what puts a target on your back. It sounds completely backward, I know. We think those things make us invisible to criminals, but for this specific kind of predator, those signs are like a flashing neon light. Their entire strategy is built on turning your shield into their target. We all know this sign, right? It's practically a staple of suburban life. You get a security system, and one of the first things you do is plant this little thing in the yard. It's a statement, a declaration to the world. This house is protected. Move on. We see it as our shield, a deterrent. It gives us that little bit of peace of mind every time we pull into the driveway. But that's how we see it. And our perception is exactly what this whole scam is built on. Okay, now let's flip the script and look at this through the attacker's eyes. To them, your sign isn't a warning at all. It's an operations menu. It's a piece of intel that tells them exactly who to impersonate, what uniform to put on, and what script to use when they knock on your door. That sign isn't a deterrent, it's an information anchor. It gives them an instant, unearned layer of credibility. The paradox is just staggering. The safer your home looks from the outside, the easier it is for a con artist to know the exact lies that will get them invited inside. So now they have their target, but just looking the part isn't enough. This is where we get into the psychological game they play at your doorstep. They don't just show up, they actively create a state of fear, a very specific type of fear that's engineered to completely bypass your logical brain. They spring what security experts call the regulatory anxiety trap.
You really have to get this concept to understand the whole scam. Regulatory anxiety is that gut-sinking feeling that you're behind the times, that your equipment is outdated, or that you're breaking some new rule you didn't even know existed. The scammer just manufactures an emergency out of thin air. They'll say something like, "We're here for the mandatory network upgrade," or "Your system isn't compliant with a new federal mandate." And boom, suddenly you're worried about your insurance, your family's safety. When our fear goes up, our ability to stop and think critically, our logical friction just drops to zero. This manufactured anxiety is literally the blindfold they use.
And we need to be clear, the financial damage here can be astronomical. We're not talking about getting tricked into a $50 service fee. The real goal is to trap you financially. They corner victims into signing what looks like a simple work order on an iPad, but it's not. It's actually a brand new 5-year high-interest contract with a totally different company. This can bleed a family for tens of thousands of dollars, and it often leads to this nightmare scenario of double billing, where you're paying your real company and the fake one at the same time. It's catastrophic, and it all started with a simple knock. So, how in the world do they pull this off so flawlessly? Well, this isn't random. It's a highly structured system, a repeatable playbook. So now we're going to break down the perimeter pivot scam step by step. We're going to treat it like the clinical intelligence operation that it is. Let's go inside the imposter's playbook to see their methods so we can build our defense. You can see it right here. The whole scam unfolds in 5 distinct phases. Think of it like chapters in a predator's how-to manual. Each phase is designed to build on the one before it, just systematically taking apart a homeowner's natural defenses. From the initial drive-by to the final dangerous act of sabotage, this is a calculated system. Understanding this flow is the absolute key to stopping it. Phase 1, visual reconnaissance. It all starts quietly. Scammers will just drive slowly through neighborhoods doing one thing, mapping those yard signs. In this phase, they're not looking for open windows or weak spots, they are pure intelligence gatherers. They're collecting those information anchors we just talked about.
making a list of which homes use which security companies. Knowing who you use is the single most important piece of data for the whole operation. They're not just finding a target, they're finding their script. Phase 2, the Assumptive Authority hook. This is when they make contact. The imposter shows up, dressed the part, and delivers a line that's been perfectly crafted. Listen to that language. "I'm with your security company, and we're here for the mandatory firmware check we emailed you about." See, the word mandatory triggers that anxiety. "We emailed you about" makes you feel like you missed something, like you're already behind. This is what's called Assumption Authority. They might even mention your specific model of doorbell camera by name. It's all about creating this powerful, false sense of urgency so they can get inside. Phase 3, mapping and entry. The second you let them over that threshold, the whole scam enters what security pros call the shadow phase. This is not a service call, it is a mapping operation. As this person walks through your home asking to check the sensors in various rooms, they are actually conducting a full security audit for a criminal network. They're mapping your home's layout, spotting valuables, looking at family photos to figure out your routines, and noting any real weak points. You think you're getting a system upgrade, they're casing the joint for a future burglary. Phase 4, contractual extraction. And now for the financial kill shot. After their little audit, they'll tell you your system is critically outdated and you need a free upgrade. They'll swap out a sensor with a cheap piece of junk, and then they'll hand you an iPad. They'll call it a job completion form and ask you to sign with your finger. But hidden in the fine print you can't really see, that signature is actually locking you into a legally binding 60-month contract with a shell company you've never even heard of. That's the trap, using modern tech to pull off an old-fashioned swindle. Phase 5, technical sabotage. And this is the final, most chilling part of the playbook. To make sure you don't figure out the scam too quickly, the imposter will often replace your real, working security sensors with dummy hardware. I mean, these things look real, they might even have a little blinking light, but they are completely fake. They're not connected to anything. They offer zero protection. So by the time you realize what's happened, you're stuck in a fraudulent contract and the technician is long gone. You're left paying a huge bill for a security system that's been surgically disabled, leaving your home more vulnerable than ever. So we've taken apart the playbook, but the real question is, why does this work so often? I mean, how do these guys so easily get past our natural skepticism, our gut feeling that something is wrong? Well, it's because the most sophisticated part of this con isn't what they do to your alarm system, it's what they do to your brain. They're not just hacking your tech, they are hacking our ancient, hardwired survival instincts. At the absolute core of why this works is a mental shortcut we all have called authority bias. Every single one of us is programmed, from an evolutionary standpoint, to trust and obey people who look like they're in charge. Someone in a uniform, holding a clipboard, speaking confidently with technical terms, that image triggers an automatic, subconscious yes in our brains. It's a shortcut that helped our ancestors survive. But today, that same instinct is being weaponized against us in our own homes. And you might be sitting there thinking, no way, I'd know something was off. My gut would be screaming at me. And you're probably right, you would feel that doubt. But the real genius of this scam is that it's designed to make you actively ignore that gut feeling. So why do we push down our own instincts and just go along with it? The answer is a specific state of mind they put you in on purpose. This right here explains the tactic perfectly. It's called intellectual submission. The scammer will just unload a stream of complex, technical jargon on you. Stuff like, we need to update your panel to prevent rolling code decryption, or your system isn't compliant with the new LTM sunsetting mandate. When we hear complicated language we don't understand from someone who seems like an expert, the analytical part of our brain just kind of shuts down. We feel like we're not qualified to question them, we don't want to look stupid, so we just defer, we submit. They are banking on you feeling overwhelmed and just giving up. Okay, understanding the playbook and the psychology is half the battle. Now, let's talk defense. How do you stop a system so perfectly tuned to exploit our own human nature? Thankfully, the answer is simple, it's absolute, and it puts all the power back in your hands. We're going to go from being the target to being the gatekeeper. This is your protocol to shut the scam down before it even starts, the zero entry defense. So here's the most important thing to remember. Your locked door is a physical weapon against a psychological attack.
The defense is called the unsolicited visit audit, and these rules are non-negotiable. 1, if a technician shows up at your door and you did not personally schedule that appointment, they do not come inside, period. No exceptions. 2, politely but firmly tell them your policy, then close and lock the door. You don't have to argue. 3, go find an official bill or contract, something with the real phone number on it, and call your security company to verify. And 4, never ever give your alarm code, password, or any details about your system to someone at the door. Ever.
Burn this script into your memory. This is your tool to take complete control of the situation. It's polite, it's firm, and it's not aggressive. But more importantly, it puts the burden of proof back on them. Just say it clearly. I handle all service through the official app. If this is legitimate, my account manager will call me. You are not authorized to touch my equipment. I'm closing the door now. A real employee will totally understand and respect that. A scammer whose entire plan relies on bypassing those official channels, they'll probably get angry or try to scare you. And in doing so, they'll show you exactly who they are.
All right, let's wrap this all up. We've deconstructed the scam, we've looked at the psychology, and we've built our defense. Now, let's boil everything we've learned down into one powerful, easy-to-remember principle. This is the one thought that can protect you from this entire operation. Here it is, the final breakdown. The whole scam on one slide. The scam. It's run by shadow installers using professional impersonation. The system. It's a contractual ambush using digital forms to trap you. The psychology. It works by exploiting our authority bias and forcing intellectual submission. And finally, the defense. The only thing you need is a strict, unbreakable, zero-entry policy for anyone who shows up unannounced. It's that simple, and it's foolproof. And this right here is the ultimate takeaway. The one single rule that cuts through all the noise and complexity. A real security company will schedule a visit with you. They'll notify you through official channels that you control, like your app or phone call that you make. They will never, ever just show up out of the blue for some mandatory emergency. Real security is a process. It is scheduled, it is expected. A scam is always a surprise. Remember that, and you will always know the difference. You'll keep your home and your peace of mind secure. Thanks for joining us.